If you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm back and it is March 14th and it's 10:54 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be going over the drop from Q for today. So let's get right to it. And in my last video, I mistakenly covered the video for the 13th. I covered this one. So in case you haven't seen that one, let's go take a look at this real quickly. And this is a link to Representative Doug Collins' Twitter page, and it says today, dougcollins.house.gov/Strzok will be available for Americans to review the transcript of Peter Strzok during his interview with the Judiciary Committee. So if you look in the description below the video, I will have the link to this so that you can peruse it at your leisure, and might be some very interesting things in there. I intend to read that and the one from Lisa Page and the one from Bruce Orr as time permits. So it'll just be interesting how many little tidbits we get from that. Now, let's go back and we're moving up to the next one, and this is the Twitter page for Sarah Carter. So we're going to go there now. All right, got an update from Special Counsel spokesman Peter Carr. Andrew Weissman is leaving the special counsel. Read here. Mueller may be wrapping up as Pitbull Weissman to step down. So this is interesting. Now, of course, Pitbull Weissman was the one that got Paul Manafort, jail sentence. So it'll be interesting what happens with all of that, because certainly these people did not deserve the sentences that they got. Let's go back to Q, and Q says the end is near. So Mueller's Pitbull is leaving, and Q says the end is near. So the investigation, the end of it all is wrapping up. It's wrapping up, and so that's basically the message that we've got there. The end is near, and I think that that is good news for all of us who have just been waiting with bated breath for this all to end, because we see how ridiculous it all is. I mean, honestly, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, I would not believe this was happening, and especially not in America. I would never have believed it. All right, now this is the next one, and it says, and Q is responding to an anon who said Baker requests handoff. And Q responds and says, thank you for your service. The importance of anons, patriots, and your commitment thus far is incalculable. God bless, Q. Now, I used Lisa Mae Crowley's little blurb about this because I think it's good. Bakers bake bread. They create threads. Now this is on the 8chan board, and they have their own little language and everything that they go by over there, and it's cute, and they've got, it's, I guess it's not their own language, it's their own culture. It's like, you know, whenever you go to a corporation, it's got its own corporate culture. Well, this board has its own culture, so to speak, and it really does, and their own language to some extent. Bakers bake bread, create threads. As each thread fills up, ensuring the latest Q drops, notables, important links, etc. included in each new bread. When bakers request handoff, they wait till another baker confirms handoff. God bless anons, patriots, not shills. And so that was how Lisa Mae Crowley described it, and I don't think I could have described it as concisely as she did. So there we go. And let's go up to the next one, and it's just this one, and it's interesting because this wasn't this little graphic here called Punisher, or something to do with pain. Well, the name has changed. That's the only thing I can think of that, like, why would he just post this? just that with nothing. But when you look at it, the name has changed, and it says a traitor's justice. Well, what is a traitor's justice? Death, right? Because a traitor, or treason, I guess, I don't know if he's traitor, I think he's meaning treason, traitor to one's country, a traitor's justice, death. So death or pain, one or the other. It's one or the other. They're either going to be behind bars or they're going to be swinging from one. So it's either or. Now, the next drop is this, and it says Rod Rosenstein debrief is complete. Q. And again, I'm a little curious about this. What is he saying? Is he talking about Rod Rosenstein's debrief of Attorney General Barr? Or what? What do you think this means? If you have another suggestion, I would be more than happy to hear it, and so would everyone else, because I know many of us comb through the comments and read them. I always get a charge out of some of you guys. Some of you guys really should be comedians, like for real. You make me laugh so hard. Some nights, especially it's late at night, usually when I'm reading the comments and I'm going and I'm giggling away to myself and I'm thinking it's a good thing I live alone. Otherwise, they'd probably have committed me by now. All right, let's go on up to the next. And this says A.G. Barr, and this is a direct quote from him, disgusted by what he's discovered so far. In all my years, in all my life, I never would have thought, and then there's all these spaces here, be possible within the halls of these prestigious federal agencies. Press conference coming, they will claim political attack. So Q is telling us that there is a press conference coming and that the Democrats are going to claim that this is a political attack. And Q also said at one point that there was going to be, they were going to subpoena A.G. Barr. Now, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what was spoken now, but anyway, it's obvious that whatever Barr has found, it has disgusted him, like literally, not disgusted, disgusted. Disgusted. That's how they'd say it down south. You better get some before it gets gone. Seriously, I lived in Wilkes County and people talked like that. And they were the nicest people, the nicest, sweetest people you would ever find on the face of the earth. But they had the most bizarre sayings for things. Like, for example, you don't turn the light switch off, you mash it. Mash that. Can you mash that light off? And if your child is late for school, and of course I was a supervisor, so I'd have people come in late and they'd say, I'm so sorry, but Johnny got bus left. That's what they say. You don't say you missed the bus, you got bus left. Very interesting place. Now, I don't know how I got into that conversation, but I did, and so now I'll stop. So anyway, oh yes, I was because of disgusted. And the other, nasty. That's just plain nasty. Anyway, all right, I'll stop with the Wilkes County talk. Anyway, he's disgusted by what he's found, and he said, never in my life would I have thought that it was possible within the halls of these federal agencies that stuff like this would go on. And he's telling us, but it's in kill brackets, but we don't know what he's saying here because obviously it's not time for us to know. But then Q says press conference coming and they will claim political attack. So we know before it even happens what's going to happen. We can count on that. We can take it to the bank, but we can't cash it. I don't know why people say take that to the bank because it's not like you can cash it. All right, let's go on. Okay. Now we're up to this. And Q included this post of his from March 12th, 2019. couple days ago. I'm sure we'll remember it. And it says, drop Mueller sealed indictments installed DC prior to Rod Rosenstein, loss of power, sealed indictments, blockade, last resort. Then remember this part down here. This is what I'm getting to. Did POTUS just install a rogue AG who allows for the indictment of his children based on false pretenses? Barr Senate vote 54 to 45. Do unicorns exist? Q. All right, now, underneath that, Q says insurance indictments regarding Ivanka, Jared, Donald Jr., all removed. But you already knew that from the drop. So we knew this on the 12th, okay? And he's telling us, Q is telling us in no uncertain terms, okay, they thought that they had this insurance by holding this over my head, that they were going to indict, my kids. Well, guess what? All been removed. It's all removed. No further threat of that. So this is a repost of post 3036 on Mueller's DC sealed indictments and the lie that AG Barr had green-lighted indictments on POTUS's kids. However, these insurance indictments have been removed. That is very good news. We don't want this stuff being held over, our president's head. And for no good reason, because they're trumped up charges, forgive the pun. Now, this from Die Oppressor Lieber, Q uses the word removed when referring to the indictments against POTUS kids. This leads me to believe they were based on false pretenses and either were never validly obtained via legitimate grand jury, or the grand jury indicted based on fabricated evidence or fraud. At any rate, whatever it is, whatever the backstory is to this, it's removed and it's no longer being held as a threat over the president's head. And that is very good news. So let's go on. And here we have a link to a Twitter account, and it's clipped out here for us. And it's from my favorite and yours, George Papadopoulos. That's right. I said Papadopoulos. Okay, I'm not going to repeat it 100 times. 10, maybe, not 100. Okay, anyway, so here is George Papadopoulos saying, I will be dropping big news about MIFSUD today. And beneath that, Q says, another piece to the puzzle, another piece to the puzzle. Autists saving the world. Q. Now, I included Die Oppressor Lieber's decode here because I think it is far better than I would have come up with, because I don't know too much about this piece of the puzzle, and with trying to catch up, I didn't have as much time to research as I would have liked to. Anyway, Q posts at George Papadopoulos tweet in which he says, I will be dropping big news about MIFSUD today. Sorry, my computer came unplugged there, and my screen dims when that happens, so that is what happened. I had to be sure that there were no little kitty teeth wrapped around the cord anywhere that I couldn't see. And indeed there aren't. So that's good news for us all. In which he says, I will be dropping big news about MIFSUD today. MIFSUD was a UK professor who worked as a spy for the deep state, basically. MIFSUD allegedly introduced George Papadopoulos, I had to say the name even though he just put George Papadopoulos, to a Russian contact, and the FBI then attempted to use this to say POTUS colluded with Russians via George Papadopoulos. MIFSUD is trying to hide from the U.S. right now. Q next cites to an article from The Hill reiterating that Lisa Page testified the FBI couldn't prove Trump-Russia collusion before Mueller was appointed. There was zero evidence of a crime when Mueller was appointed by Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein to investigate the President of the United States. If no evidence of a crime, this is highly treasonous and means that there was an ulterior motive for the appointment of Mueller, the deep state's insurance policy. Again, that is from The Oppressor Lieber. You can find him on Twitter. You can also find him on the website Disclosure Italia. And let's go up to here, and we have another article, and it says, remember this important fact. If there was no evidence of Russia collusion, what grounds did Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein have to appoint Mueller? None. That's it. None. Rod Rosenstein offered to wear a wire to entrap the President of the United States in an attempt to invoke the 25th Amendment. Q. Yes, he did. He is a piece of work, definitely, Rod Rosenstein. And yeah, why would they have appointed Mueller? Why? If they had, to that date, found no evidence of collusion. Well, let's go take a look at this article that Q has provided for us. Lisa Page bombshell. FBI couldn't prove Trump-Russia collusion before Mueller appointment. Now, let me see. Hang on here. To date, Lisa Page's infamy has been driven mostly by the anti-Donald Trump text messages she exchanged with fellow FBI agent Peter Strzok as the two engaged in an affair while investigating the president for alleged election collusion with Russia. Yet, when history judges the former FBI lawyer years from now, her most consequential pronouncement may not have been hyped on her bureau-issued Samsung smartphone to her colleague and lover. May not have been typed on her bureau-issued Samsung smartphone to her colleague and lover. Rather, it might be 8 simple words she uttered behind closed doors during a congressional interview a few weeks ago. It's a reflection of us still not knowing, Page told Representative John Ratcliffe when questioned about texts she and Strzok exchanged in May 2017 as Robert Mueller was being named special counsel to take over the Russia investigation. With that statement, Page acknowledged a momentous fact. After 9 months of using some of the most awesome surveillance powers afforded to the U.S. intelligence, the FBI still had not made a case connecting Trump or his campaign to Russia's election meddling. Page opined further, acknowledging it still existed in the scope of possibility that there would be literally nothing to connect Trump and Russia, no matter what Mueller or the FBI did. As far as May of 2017, we still couldn't answer the question, she said at another point. I reached out to Page's lawyer, Amy Jeffries, on Friday. She declined to answer questions about her client's cooperation with Congress. It might take a few seconds for the enormity of Page's statements to sink in. After all, she isn't just any FBI lawyer. She was a lead on the Russia case when it started in summer 2016, and she helped it transition to Mueller through summer 2017. For those who might cast doubt on the words of a single FBI lawyer, there's more. Shortly after he was fired, ex-FBI Director James Comey told the Senate that there was not yet evidence to justify investigating Trump for colluding with Russia. When I left, we did not have an investigation focused on President Trump, Comey testified, and Strzok, the counterintelligence boss and leader of the Russia probe, texted Page in May 2017 that he was reluctant to join Mueller's probe and leave his senior FBI post because he feared there's no big there. The Department of Justice, DOJ, Inspector General asked Strzok shortly before he was fired from the FBI what he meant by that text, and he offered a most insightful answer. Strzok said he wasn't certain there was a broad, coordinated effort to hijack the election and the evidence of Trump campaign aides talking about getting dirt on Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton from Russians might have been just a bunch of opportunists talking to heighten their importance. Strzok added that while he raised the idea of impeachment in some of his text to Page, I am not convinced or certain that it will, he told the Inspector General. So by the words of Comey, Strzok, and Page, we now know that the Trump Justice Department, through Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, unleashed the Mueller special counsel probe before the FBI could validate a connection between Trump and Russia, which raises the question, if there was no concrete evidence of collusion, why did we need a special counsel? Page's comments also mean FBI and justice officials likely leaked a barrage of media stories just before and after Mueller's appointment that made the evidence of collusion look far stronger than the frontline investigators knew it to be. Text messages show contacts between key FBI and DOJ players and the Washington Post, the Associated Press, and the New York Times during the ramp-up to the Mueller probe. And that means the news media, perhaps longing to find a new Watergate to revive sagging fortunes, were too willing to be manipulated by players in a case that began as a political opposition research project funded by Clinton's campaign and led by a former British intelligence agent, Christopher Steele, who despised Trump. Finally, Page's statement signals that the nation's premier intelligence court may not have been given a complete picture of the evidence or lack thereof, as it was approved an ordinary surveillance intrusion into an American presidential nominee's campaign just weeks before Election Day. There was no fault to the FBI checking whether Trump was compromised by Russia. That is a classic counterintelligence responsibility. The real fault lies in those leaders who allowed a secret investigation to mushroom into a media maelstrom driven by leaks that created a story that far exceeded the evidence and then used that false narrative to set a special counsel flying downhill instead of his skis. No matter where Mueller ends his probe, it is now clear the actions that preceded his appointment turned justice on its head, imposing the presumption of guilt upon a probe whose only originators had reason to doubt the strength of their evidence. That by John Solomon, The Hill. Now let's go back. And again, he says, remember this important fact. If there was no evidence of Russian collusion, what grounds did Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein have to appoint Mueller? Rod Rosenstein was offered to wear a wire to entrap the President of the United States in an attempt to invoke the 25th Amendment. Q. So, so interesting that the things that we have been told months and months and months and months previously are now out there. It's out there. It may not be out there in the mainstream media, mainstream yet. It's getting there. It's getting there because there will come a point where CNN is going to have to report the truth, or they're going to ruin what tiny little bit of credibility they have left. Oh heck, they've already ruined that too. But you know, for most people, they don't know that. They don't know what we know about CNN. They still believe that, you know, for the most part, they report the news. So it's interesting to see this coming out in a big way. All right. Now, it says, here is the next one, and it says, remember this important fact. Adam Schiff is part of the Gang of Eight, Intel. It will become critical once a Gang of Eight material is declassified. So right there, we know that there's a lot more declassification coming. Logical, Q. If Adam Schiff knew everything he's investigating and stating publicly to be knowingly false, disinformation, why then would he take the course of actions ongoing? Did Adam Schiff purposely deceive the American public, thinking the Gang of Eight material and other classified documentation would never reach the public domain? Precisely. What insurance did they hang over POTUS' head in order to prevent action? A father's love for his children knows no bounds. So he's telling us right there and then that the insurance that they hung over POTUS' head to prevent the declassification from the Gang of Eight material then was the indictment of his children. And of course, you know, a father's love for his children knows no bounds, and Trump loves his children as much as any father loves his children, and certainly would not want to see them indicted and put in jail on trumped up charges that, you know, have no basis in fact. So that's what they were holding over his head, but no more. So what does that mean? If it's not being held over his head anymore, and that's been taken off the table, then he can go ahead and declassify this stuff, right? Uh-oh. Yeah, uh-oh for them. So yeah, the indictment of POTUS's kids was the insurance that they hung over his head. Now, if you're wondering about the Gang of Eight, it is Pelosi, McCarthy, McConnell, Schumer, Schiff, Nunes, Burr, and Warner. A position within the Gang of Eight comes as a result of holding one of the following 8 positions. 1, Speaker of the House. 2, the Minority Leader of the House. 3, the Minority Leader of the Senate. 4, the Minority Leader of the Senate. The Majority Leader of the Senate, the Minority Leader of the Senate, the Chairperson of the House Permanent Committee on Select Intelligence. 6, the Minority Leader from the same committee. 7, the Chairperson of the Senate Intelligence Committee. And 8, the Minority Leader of the same committee. It is important to understand that everything the White House, CIA, NSA, and U.S. State Department does is approved by these 8 members who are accountable to the U.S. electorate. These 8 representatives are the intelligence oversight check within the constitutionally established check and balance inside our federal government. So yeah, they are important. The Gang of Eight. And, you know, we've got some pretty nasty people in this Gang of Eight. There's Pelosi, Schiff, Schumer. Don't know too much about, well, Nunes, he's okay. Don't know too much about the rest, really. Well, a little bit, but not too much. All right, let's go on. Okay, and here is the next. And let me see how many we have left here. All right, I guess it doesn't matter. We're going to go till we're done. So here we are, and Q is referring to an old post of his from 8/29/18. And in this post, he says, do you notice a pattern? Bruce Orr, demoted 2 times, cooperating witness, power removed. House testimony, Peter Strzok, cooperating witness, power removed. House testimony, Lisa Page, cooperating witness, power removed. House testimony, Bill Priesap, cooperating witness, power removed, to be called. Mike Cortan, cooperating under resigned title, to be called. Who are they cooperating with? Do you believe in coincidences? The more you know. Q. Now this was from way back in August. And then Q provides us with a tweet by Paul Sperry, and I've clipped it out here. Breaking, DOJ, IG Horowitz is investigating who in the senior ranks of FBI and DOJ, including Rosenstein and Yates, knew Bruce Orr was back-channeling anti-Trump dirt from Steele to the FBI after Steele was terminated by the FBI as a confidential source, or is fully cooperating in the probe. Now, Q says, what did we learn this week? Orr, cooperating witness. Page, cooperating witness. Strzok, cooperating witness. Next, Q. Now, who was the next that was listed up here? The next was Bill Priesap and Mike Cortan. So we will see, probably those are coming up shortly. And Q is telling us that these people that have been interviewed, they are cooperating. And when we say cooperating, we know that they are cooperating not with the deep state, but with Trump administration in getting out the truth. So there we go. So there's going to be, I mean, if we think the information dump that we've had over the last year and a half is big, this is bigger. Huge, massive dump of info is coming. And I don't know how we'll be able to look at it all and go through it all, but we're going to try. So yeah, lots to look forward to. All right, now here is the next one, and this one is Q is referencing a post of his from August 30th, and here he said everything stated has meaning. What is the significance of Nellie Orr being fluent in Russian? Is Russian a common language to learn? Why might this language be studied? What position might this language be useful? The farm requires select skill sets. Q. And of course, the farm is CIA. And, yeah, not everybody, Russian is not a popular language to learn. I mean, people don't even generally vacation there, although some do. The only reason that you would have to learn Russian is possibly if you were in political science and were a spy of some sort or an agent. So yeah, not generally, people don't generally spend their time learning Russian. I guess maybe some do, but I don't think a lot of people do. So, and Q is telling us that, yeah, that's why it was learned. She learned that because she was part of the CIA. And let's go to this article that Q is directing us to here. And Nellie Orr testimony confirms her work for the CIA. Now, I'm not going to read all this. Prior to investigating the Trump campaign for Fusion GPS, Nellie Orr worked as contractor for the CIA for up to 6 years. So there you go. I don't think we need to read through all of this because time is a-ticking. It's getting late, and I've had a lot to go over tonight. I don't think it's really necessary to read all this. I think we've known that Nellie Orr was CIA. We knew that before from Q, so we've known since August, but now it's coming out in the news. So that is interesting. That, to me, is the most interesting part here, is that it's out now. And let's go back. And Q says, what did we learn this week? Nellie Orr equals CIA. Next, Q. Interesting. And here we go. We are going to look at this, and it says, sometimes the truth is right in front of you. So let's take a look at this. Facebook loses top executives, including Chris Cox. San Francisco, oops, maybe it's not going to let me read it. Dang it. Dang. Oh, let's go back. If I can't read it, I can't read it. And so Chris Cox is leaving. Some of the top executives are leaving. Let's see what this says. Market Watch. Oh, yes. So Facebook stocks are down. Well, that's no surprise. But interesting, right here, Facebook Inc. CI space A. And I think that means class. What does that mean? Class. It means something else, but I think it's interesting that it's there. Yep. Insider actions for Facebook. Let me see now. I'm just seeing here. Yeah, a lot of them are getting rid of their shares. That's interesting, isn't it? Wonder why. Wonder why they're dropping their shares. Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of inside dumping going on. A whole lot of inside dumping. So there you go. So let's go back, and it says sometimes the truth is right in front of you. So I think Facebook is, yeah, if you own stock in Facebook, you might want to reconsider that. Not that you should ever accept financial advice from me. I'm not a financial analyst, but that just seems like common sense to me. But let's go on here. And up here, we've got the next one. It stands for Class A shares. That's what the CL, well, it looks like an I, though. It looks like CIA. Okay, so here, Q has, referring to an anon who's posted a clip out of what we just looked at. And beneath it, it says, Yowza, exits. And then Q responds and says, did you see CIA? Q. Now, let's go up to the next one. I'd say Facebook is in a little bit of trouble. And here, Q is referencing this anon who says, insider actions for Facebook, Inc., CIA, and he said screenshot of it. Yep. And Q then corrects it and says, well, you know, it really means Class A shares, but fun nonetheless, Q. So he's having fun. He's saying, well, look at that. Look at it, looks like CIA, which is kind of a hat tip to where they originated from, because they are CIA. They started with DARPA. DARPA started LifeLog became Facebook, so it's just a little bit of trolling on Q's part, and it is fun. I would agree. So now this, let me see, if we go here, Q has placed this link here, which I don't have. Oh crap, I didn't clip that out. It says, oh crap, I'm gonna have to go to here and find it. Sorry, I do apologize. Here it is. Let's go take a look at this. I wish Q would stop posting New York Times articles. 1, we can't read them unless we pay. 2, it gives them relevancy in the midst of all the lies. Find another source. Hashtag QAnon, hashtag QArmy, hashtag where we go one, we go all. So that is what Q linked to. Then let's go back. And Q says, clear history and cookies to bypass all paywalls. Read free. Q. So I guess in order to bypass the paywalls, you have to clear your history and cookies in your browser. So there you go. A good, useful tip from Q. Now, you know what? I don't know what this means. It says he's referencing an anon who says, hack the planet, hack the Gibson. Q says, cool movie, 0 cool. Q. I don't know. I don't know what they're discussing. So I have no idea what that means, and I wish I did, but I don't. If you know, let me know, because I think it's between Q and the anons that are just kind of, I don't know. I don't think it's meant for, I don't know. I don't think there's any deep knowledge there, if you ask me, but let me know in the comments below what you think. And here we go, on to the next, and it says, to summarize this week, regarding Democrats' prep to steal 2020 elections, attack Fox News to control opposition narrative 6 companies control 90% of the mainstream media. Vote to allow illegal immigrants right to vote in elections. Push talking points regarding voters' age should be talking points. It should be talking points. Push talking points regarding voter age should be decreased from 18 to 16. And yes, that's what the Democrats are wanting to do. They're wanting to decrease the voting age. And why do you think that is? Because the young people are more apt to vote Democrat. Of course. Why else would it be? No wall, open borders, all welcome, more Democrat votes. Of course. Deny proper counting, U.S. census, avoid public knowledge, real illegal population to avoid voter fraud, percentage risk to elections. Welcome to the Democratic Party. Yeah, and that's just this week. That's just this week. Imagine how much damage they could do if they had 4 years in office. It's a good thing they don't. And thank goodness Hillary didn't win. Now, we go up to here, and he is referencing the exact same post that we just looked at, and he's saying, disregard spelling error on the move, Q. So that was supposed to be talking points, and it was misspelled, and he's saying, disregard spelling error on the move, Q. All right. Now, let's go take a look at this. Facebook says outage caused by server change now resolved. Facebook says it's resolved outages that plagued the company and its Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp services over the past 24 hours. Yesterday, as a result of a server configuration change, many people had trouble accessing our apps and services, the company says in a tweet. We've now resolved the issue and our systems are recovering. We're very sorry for the inconvenience and appreciate everyone's patience. The company had said yesterday that the issue wasn't related to a distributed denial of service attack, an intentional move often made to sabotage major websites. So there you go. Now they're saying it was caused by a server change. And if you believe that, I've got some land for you in a swamp in DC. All right, let's go back. So Q just puts it in quotation marks, server config change. And you can see him going, yeah, that's what it was. Server config change. Right. All right. And the next one is very sad to see Germany pulling the strings on the UK. Democracy must and should always prevail. Q+. We know who Q+ is. So wonderful. Then we've got this, another message direct from our president. And he says, stand strong, patriots. And he's speaking to the patriots in the UK. Stand strong, patriots. The United States is with you. Q+. This really is a worldwide movement, and it really is benefiting the world. And the takedown of corruption within the United States can only mean good things for the rest of the world. And I hope and pray that the rest of the world follows suit, especially Canada, who is in the midst of its own swamp. So, yeah, let's just hope that Donald J. Trump is able to accomplish everything that he needs to accomplish to get this cleaned up. And we need to continue to pray for his safety and for wisdom, because he surely needs it. Anyway, that is it for the post from today. So we are caught up. I'm very, very happy about that. I don't know about you, but I'm very happy about that. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great night. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and stay tuned, because I'll be back. And I hope you will be too. Good night.